What's up everybody, it's DeAndre again, showing you another how-to video on how to install front brake rotors and pads on a disc setup. So that's most of your modern cars, they do have front discs. You're not going to find anything with front drums nowadays. So this video is pretty wide open to most manufacturers. There are some things that are very specific to Honda and Acura themselves, but I'm pretty sure you can take just about anything from this video and translate it to anything that you're doing currently. So that being said, let's get right to it. First things first, you want to make sure that you have the correct tools to take off your wheel. You want to make sure that you take off your wheel, because if you can't take off your wheel, you can't get to your brakes, and that you kind of need to do that. So you got to remove this bolt up here, and there's another one down here, and this assembly here will come off. Very important part and a very important tip whenever you're doing any work on the car, especially when you're doing something as important as your brakes, you want to maintain your bolts. So both of these bolts, I know that this one went in the top and this one went in the bottom. I'll check them out. They both look about the same size and the same diameter, so I'm sure they can slip swap, but you do want to make sure that you have these bolts somewhere safe that they don't get lost. So I'm going to put both of these bolts up here on this plastic, I don't know what to call it, plastic something on top of the car. It's a good place to put bolts. Even if you forget them there, you know there are bolts up there for the car. You kind of organize them by space on that top part up there. Now back to the rotor. Let me get up and show you guys something. So here you have an impact driver. It's basically like an impact screwdriver handheld. It's really the only way to get out a screw that holds in the rotor on most Hondas, and I'm sure a few other makes. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but again, this is a generalized video on how to remove your front brake calipers and brake rotors for a disc setup. But this is usually a tool that you'll actually need. And how this works is, you want to find your bit size, you want to find your screw hole, and you want to be able to fit that in there nice and snug, no wiggling, not too big, not too small, and this is actually the perfect fit. And then when you have this guy, and you have this working, you have a hammer, and when you hit this, it will turn this right or left, so loose or tighten, depending on how you have this ring up here. So that is how this works. Let's get to it. Okay, so next we're going to get the bolts from the back of the caliper bracket, so that way we can actually get the rotor off. These two screws, as you saw before, they came out pretty easily after you use the correct tools. Correct tools make the job easier. Remember that. It's never a lie. The correct tools make the job easier. And I don't know if you guys saw the technique that I used earlier to get those bolts off with my bare hands, but same thing with the screwdriver. You're using force to try and get something really tight out. So what I do is I take the end of the wrench and I just bang it with my fist, and that basically gives me something like a fake impact. Hey, airplane! Oh, bitch ass. Oh, bitch. And again, with these bolts for the back of the caliper bracket, we're actually going to put those same place as we put the bolts for the front of the caliper bracket, or for the top part of the caliper. So this right there, and as you can see here, I don't know if you can look, if my beautiful camera lady can show you, you got the top of the caliper bracket, the back of the caliper bracket, and then the rotor. So everything up there is organized. There's only 3 sets of bolts that I need to have to get this rotor on and off. Now let's talk about getting the rotor off. As you saw, we have the rotors here. These are new rotors. They're actually XiXX Sport something or another. But the best thing about these rotors is that they're cheap and that they're quality. They're not going to bend or shake or anything. These are actually what I have on my RSX, and that's what's running in the background over there, because I actually forgot to tell Alexis while I was at work to grab brake cleaner to clean off the rotors. You want to definitely have brake cleaner to clean your rotors off. Because they come pre-packaged with a lubricant / grease all around the rotor to keep it from getting surface rust and things like that throughout the shipping process. So those are things you want to make sure you do after you open up your new rotors before you put them on. Yeah, we'll be back. Decided to send Alexis in my RSX to go grab the brake clean. So we'll see how she pulls off on the straight pipe RSX. Let's see how she does. Well, not too bad. Well, look at her. Huh. Alright, dudes and dudettes. I think that's the end of the video, but we did miss a few things. I just want to make sure that you guys know that we missed a few things. One of the things that I missed was the step on compressing your caliper. So the caliper piston needs to be compressed back in, so you need either a C-clamp or a specific caliper compression tool to actually compress your caliper back down to fit the new brake pads, because the calipers automatically compress and adapt to brake pad wear. The second thing that I missed was the end of the video, but really there wasn't much more to show you. It did get dark and too dark to actually film. But like I just said, there wasn't too much left to show you besides actually putting the rotor back on, which just go back through the video and do everything in reverse, and that's the best way to figure out how to put it back on. And it's the same thing for the opposite side. You just do that same thing for the opposite side. Hope that everybody liked this video. If you didn't like it, dislike it. If you liked it, like it. Like, subscribe if you'd like to. That's it for today, guys. See you next time.
That means you're extra.